Now there's not much left to take off this bike. This is the seat post clamp. Of course I can get it off. I unscrew this, pry it open. The seat will come off. Oops, sorry. The seat, or the saddle, I mean, is coming off. And then there's the bottom bracket. I do need a special tool for this, so I need to try and pick this up. See if I can get it off. Or if I need to actually get some help from a bike shop. I don't know. We'll see. I am going shopping today for some more stuff for the bike, so I'll see if I can find this. This is an old one, so perhaps not. We'll see. Also, these cable guides here need to come off. It's just an Allen key, comes off. And then bottle cage holding screws here are actually coming off. Like this. There's also one there and one lost, so we'll see. Okay, so what I will do is actually I'll take cable guides off. Nope, wrong size. I've never had these off, so I don't know. I think I'm going to have to concentrate on this one because it is rounded, it is stuck, it is... So I think I need both hands so I don't destroy it. Okay. As you start filming yourself, you start to realize that you say a couple of things all the time. I very often start my videos with okay, so sorry for that. The saddle is coming off. Underneath here, hard to see, there's an Allen bolt that goes through up there. So you just unscrew this. There's a plate here on top, and there's a plate here that goes, it clamps the rail of the saddle. So that's the top one, that's the bottom one. You can also adjust the angle of the saddle. I know there's very much debate about, the UCI has rules about how much you can tilt your saddle. So up until just recently, everybody had their saddle flat. Now, as the positions get more racy, they start to tilt it forward. Never tried it, seems uncomfortable. But then again, if you're a pro rider, I don't think comfort isn't the first thing they think about. So this is coming off quite easily, even though it's kind of hard with just one hand. But it'll come off. As you can see on top, let's see if I take it from this side. On top of the plate there's a little nut thingy that holds the top plate in place. So be careful that you don't lose it. All of the seat posts look different, so this is just how this one looks. They can be different types, different materials, of course. This is an aluminium seat post in a steel frame bike, and that is the main reason why it is stuck like it is, because it creates a bond. It actually creates like a weld almost if you don't maintain it properly. Now I am going to have to put the phone down because I have to hold on to this because it's just spinning now, so I can take the whole bolt out. And there we go. The bolt on top is out. I'll just try and pull the nut, and then I'll try to pull the bolt out and take the saddle off. this on the table. I don't lose it. I'll get the bolt out. There we go. I will put this one on this one so I don't lose it later. Then it's just lifting the saddle off. There's the top that goes on the railing there. Just put that there. And there's the bottom one, which has grooves that corresponds to grooves in the seat post where you can adjust the seat angle. And I will just put all of these together again. Although I am replacing the seat post, I still want to keep things neat in case I do have to reuse it. But then again, I will actually cut this off right here and see if I can either use a hacksaw in here to cut it into pieces, just like in the Pink Floyd song, and put lots and lots of penetrating oil and see if I can actually pull the pieces out or clamp it together so it crushes the seat post so I can pull it out. So I'll just take this seat post clamp off, and then hopefully these little buggers have had enough penetrating oil so I can take these off. And then it's just a matter of getting the bottom bracket off, and then we can start working on the paint. So I will go and buy some paint stripper today and see if we can get the paint off. This is, I don't even have to film it, it's just an Allen bolt and a nut, so just take it off. As it turns out, it wasn't very easy to get it off because I don't want to bend it too much, because I'm actually thinking about reusing this one, because on a modern bike you have these long seat posts and a clamp, very sort of long space here for the clamp, but I think this is, you can see the top tube goes, it's just a little bit here, so I think I'm going to have to reuse this one, and I can't get it over here, and I don't want to pry it open, so I bend it. So when I use my hacksaw, saw this off, then I can take it off. So for today, let's see if we can get this one off. There's a 3mm Allen key. Let's see here. Oh. Maybe I need to use the hack that I did on the shift levers to use a Torx instead. No, it's really giving me a hard time, especially with just one hand, so well, it's just screw these out and remove them, so it's not rocket surgery, it's just that it's a bit stuck. I'll use some more penetrating oil, see if I can get it off. Now, on the other side, I did get the little screw out, and then it was simply, well, not simply, a matter of pulling this out. And I don't know if you can see it's really grimy in here. It's rusty and grimy and stuff, so it was really stuck. I had to use quite a bit of penetrating oil to get it off. Damaged it a little bit, but I have no idea if I can buy new ones, so I think I'll reuse these, but clean them properly, because eek. On the other side, now this screw is still stuck. I've used some penetrating oil, I'll use some more, I'll let it rest and see what I can do, because it's both stuck and rounded, so That's the big problem with old bikes, that hasn't been maintained very good. Now I've done the most obvious maintaining of this bike since I bought it, but as I said, it was used and abused, so some of the parts are just stuck. That's how it is. I have turned the bike around to see if I can get these cranks off. There's an Allen bolt here. I had to use a little bit of penetrating oil to loosen it up, and as you can see, as I turn the cranks follow. So I'll just try and, because I've loosened it, so it comes off like this. Now, to be quite honest, I don't know how these old Campagnolos compare to a Shimano, but I'm guessing there's a tapered axle in there, and you have to use a puller to get it off. See, this is the dust cap, and there's the bolt coming out like that. And let's see what's inside. Yep, it would seem that it's a square tapered axle. Hopefully the threads are the same. I have a puller for this. There's a washer in there as well. And hopefully the threads are the same as on Shimano, because the one I have is for Shimano. So I'll just go and get it and see if we can get this off. I'll put some penetrating oil in there as well, because it's probably been sitting there for a long time. So this is a crank puller. What you do is that you take this part, see it's spinning, and you thread it into the threads like this. You have to be very careful so you don't cross thread it. And then as it tightens up, you can actually, I'll just use my adjustable wrench here and tighten it a little bit. If I can do this with one hand. There you go. So you just tighten it a little bit. And then what you do is that you start screwing this in, and as you do that, it puts pressure on the square taper in there, and it pulls the crank out, because this will hold on to the crank through the threads. I will actually tighten it a little bit more. I have to put my phone down, and then you start screwing on this, screw this in, and that pushes on the axle and pulls the crank out. This is the same on every square tapered bottom bracket apparently, because this is the Campagnolo. I've used this on Shimano, but this is a Campagnolo. Threads were the same. And so I'll just put my phone down, tighten this a little bit, and then start screwing this in so it pulls it out. Okay, did put up quite a fight. I had to remove it from the bike stand and actually hold on to it with both hands and feet, but as you can see now, it did exactly what I said. This one was fastened here, and then as you screw this in, you see the crank coming off like that, and then you can take it off. Now I have to see if I can get this out of here, but that's the way that works. I think then, because it's a square tapered, This is it's squared and it's a little bit tapered. You actually remove this side the same way, and then I have to remove the bottom brackets. Possibly, don't know, exchange it for a Power Torque one. The new Campagnolo is the same thing as the Shimano ones, where you have the cups on the outside and an axle that goes through that's attached to the cranks. But I will do the other side and I'll see what I can do. The bike shop that I was supposed to go to wasn't open yet, so I need this wrench that has these hooks on it in order to get this off. Okay, so the thing that I feared has happened. The threads in here does not hold on to the bolt properly. It's no biggie, but it will take some force. What I have to do is that I have to put a lot of penetrating oil in here, and then I'll actually have to tap it out from this side. And since I'm not reusing this, it doesn't matter, but it's a more cumbersome way to do it, because there are no threads or anything holding on to this, just a square tapered pin or axle. Maybe that had something to do with it. I'll just try again. I forgot this washer, so I'll just try once more with the puller and see if I can get it done. Otherwise I have to hammer it out instead. Nope. Sounded good, didn't work. Penetrating oil, hammer. I have done this before, and it will come off. It will be noisy, so I won't film it, but what I will do is that penetrating oil and just use a hammer to knock it off. So this is an interesting development. Now I've been using tons and tons of penetrating oil in order to get this off, because the threads are gone, totally gone. What actually happened was that these cups here came loose. Since I've been hammering so hard, they shook loose. So what I can do is, this is on the drive side, so it's, let's see, counterclockwise if you have the bike right side up, and I can just unscrew this until it comes off, which it will do soon, and then I can just take the whole crank set off, so I don't have to bother with it anymore. And that's my wife and my oldest child coming home. See, ta-da! So I don't have to get that booger off. Ha! Interesting. After trying to get this wire guide off, it's underneath the bottom bracket. I thought it was a torque screw. No, first I thought it was an Allen screw. Then I thought it was a torque screw. But after applying a lot of penetrating oil and actually using a toothpick to get all the gunk out, it's a star screw, the Phillips head. So there you go. So I'll just unscrew this and save it for later. Like I said before, it's a very good idea to put everything in order so you can find it. But then again, this is almost every time I do stuff, it ends up like this for a while. So stuff everywhere. But what I did was that I as I said, the bottom bracket cups actually shook loose when I was hammering down on the cranks to get it off. So now I can just discard all of this is the bottom bracket. This is a sealed bottom bracket, which is an insert that goes through here with a square axle on each side. They're good. They're very good. They're reliable. They are sturdy. Was the word I was looking for. But more modern ones are easier. Comes with a bearing cup here and a bearing cup on that side, and then the axle actually looks kind of like this. It's attached to the drive side, goes through, and then you put the crank on the other side and screw it on. So it's way easier to maintain. What I also did was I tapped out the bearing race here. It was simply just screwdriver in here, tapped easily because I greased it when I put it in, tapped it out so it came off, and actually the cable guide that was stuck finally came loose. So the last thing I have to do now on this frame is to get this off. So what I'll do is I'll take my hacksaw, saw it off in half, or just ouch, here, leave a piece, because if I don't leave a piece I will never ever get a grip on it. So and then try to use, I actually bought a new saw today. Looks like this. I haven't even unpacked it because I want to see if it fits first. So you stick it into the seat tube and you try and saw grooves in the seat post. Use tons of penetrating oil, see if you can pull the pieces out, cramp it together a little bit. If that doesn't work, I did find a hack on YouTube. Several people actually done it. That is to pour caustic soda down the seat tube, because caustic soda won't affect the steel, but it will eat away on the aluminum, which this seat post is. It's stinky, it's messy, it's a lot of cleaning up to do afterwards, so hopefully I don't have to do it, but it does work, so fingers crossed I don't have to resort to that. Now I'll put everything in neat little packages, and I'll see you next time.